All right, ladies and gentlemen, Fab's in the house. And today we're going to talk about the action of knives. So basically there are like three categories of actions. So you can consider manual opening action, automatic, and assisted. So assisted knives are, spring-loaded. So are knives basically where you have a mechanism that you need to push, like a lever, and then you're gonna have, the deployment that's gonna be assisted by a spring. And then you need to use force to just put the blade in the closed position. The automatic knives are divided in two subcategories. One is the semi-auto, which means you can deploy the blade just by pushing a button, and you need to apply force to retract the blade. And the fully automatic blades are the one where you, like the OTFs, you push a button, deploy the blade, you push the button the other way around, double spring, probably assisted, and the blade is gonna just return inside the handle. We're not gonna talk about those. We are going to talk about only manual opening folding knives. So basically we can divide those into categories depending on the kind of pivot action they have. So for example, you can have bearings, mechanism as pivot opening action, which means you're gonna have like little steel or ceramic ball, caged or uncaged, it depends, running around the pivot, so that when you deploy the blade, you got a pretty smooth action, super fast. In this case, you have a flipper knife running on bearings. That is one kind. You can also have a knife running on bearings, being super smooth but not being a flipper, like this Nirvana over here. There's no flipper tab, you can flick it, like you can spidey flick, but no flipper, but running on bearings. And that's another kind. You can also have a flipper which is running on washers. And that doesn't mean the knife is gonna be slow or, it's gonna be a slouch. This guy flips like a boss and it's running on bearings. So very, very nice. Also, of course, you have knives running on washers and not being flippers. For example, this is a Lethier. It's a nice slip joint with a lock back, and it's running on washers. So these are the four main categories for the pivot action. Then we can consider the drop shuttiness, which means how a knife will behave when you release the lock bar. For example, you have your Sebenza 21, okay, which is going to act like this when you deploy the blade. So as you can see, when I release the lock bar, the blade has a little bit of friction and it's just, reaching, let's say, 90 degrees position, okay? If I turn the knife upside down in the vertical position, nothing is gonna happen. So this means that there's no guillotine effect. So the guillotine effect, let's say it's from the 50% position to the closed position, all right? So Sebenza has friction, because it's not like free falling. It's like, dampened a little bit. So when you deploy the lock, it's gonna reach this position. There's no way, you have to wiggle like vigorously the knife, and you're gonna have a hard time unless you have polished the washers to close the blade. So these, let's say, has no guillotine effect. Something else that is falling under a different categories is, for example, the mini glimpse. So this one, when you unlock the blade, you will see that it's just free falling, all right, to the 50% position. When I turn the knife upside down, like in the vertical position, nothing happens. But if I just wiggle a little bit, the knife is, you see, it's going down. So this one has no guillotine effect. You have to wiggle a little bit. Another one that it's free falling, it's, for example, this one. You see, like you deploy you unlock the lock bar and the blade just falls like freely. So, okay, like this. If you rotate the handle, look at this. So this is a completely different action. So when the blade reaches this position, and when you turn the blade upside down, you have this amazing slow glide. Look at this. I'm not wiggling anything. It's just falling under its own weight. So this is great, and it's a little bit different than this kind of action. And then, of course, you have the action where there's only free falling. Like this is the snafu, just falls, and as you put it like in the vertical position, this blade is, you know, so heavy that just falls like that. So you see, so faster than this, but this is smoother. Something else you have in the category that it's, you know, guillotine effect and free falling is just like, for example, your Benchmade 940-1 or just 940 or 943. As you see, as you release the lock, which is an axis lock in this case, the knife, the blade, it just falls. It's like freely, you see, it just freely spinning around, and that's another kind of action. Lastly, we have knives that are, you know, not free falling. Like when I, you know, release the lock bar, nothing happens. And this is just running on washers. It's a frame lock, like for example this one, but you know, nothing happens. So I just need to manually close it. Even if I wiggle, you know, I'm gonna have a hard time to close this one. So, you know, this is just gonna fall in the last category of knives that needs some friction to be closed, and I run out of space over here. All right, guys. Yeah, this was my quick overview for the action of the manual opening folding knives. Let me know if you have any comment. I couldn't find any lockback knife like free falling. You know, if you have something in mind, or if you have one, just please let me know in the comment sections. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.